MM. In recordings of Hubbard's talks, it often seems that he is presenting his theories and space opera in a tongue-in-cheek fashion. He's laughing and so is the audience. I wonder whether in early days he and his audience actually believed it or whether it was more understood as entertainment, as fiction, and only sometime later the lines blurred and people started believing. No, absolutely not. Hubbard definitely was pushing off the tales of whole track, earlier civilizations, space opera stuff. He was definitely talking about that in a very serious tone. Now, the laughing and the joking that you hear going on in the lectures is because Hubbard was telling jokes and making, fun of things and trying to be an entertaining speaker. A lot of his lectures are that way, especially his more public-facing lectures. When he was giving lectures to, just small groups of auditors on very technical things, you didn't see as much of that. But in some of the more open lectures and famous lectures that you might hear him talking in, you'll hear him being more jovial and trying to keep the crowd interested and entertained. But that doesn't mean that they were all joking and sort of nudge nudge wink wink about what he was talking about. He meant what he was saying when he said that there were earlier civilizations that thetans, that spiritual beings, had been part of, and that they had been implanted and given commands, and that people live life after life after life, and they have to undo this stuff, and here's the technique to do it. He wasn't joking around about any of that. He liked to tell stories, which he claimed were his own experiences from the whole track, right, as a race car driver and spaceship operator and, what was it, a military scout, and various other stories he would tell. He might have told those in a humorous vein to sort of, be entertaining, but no, he wasn't telling that like it was some farcical sort of thing. That wasn't the spirit with which that information was delivered. And, Hubbard really took himself seriously the whole time as a philosopher and as a researcher, and at least that was the words that he used, and that's how he came across to people like me. Now, I wasn't around in the 50s, and I'm told, and I think I commented on last week, that the 50s were a much looser time in terms of experimentation and how people were acting. It wasn't so rigid, and there weren't so many rules and so many guidelines. But the subject matter was still something that all of them were thinking was real and that they were getting gains from, and they were using this stuff and having all kinds of woohoo kind of experiences. Recalling the time they, blew up planets, 50 million years ago and gave themselves headaches now as a result. Because that's kind of how that stuff is looked at is, oh yeah, I have this chronic pain in my knee, and that's because 25 million years ago, I, shot out some guy's leg or something, or I was the king of, Atlantia, and I ordered that, every third male have his leg chopped off in punishment for defying my tax laws or something. I mean, they got all kinds of convoluted sort of thinking going on in the world of Scientology, but they try to find the reason why they might be having problems of some kind right now, whether it's a physical problem or a mental problem, and they'll assign it to something they did or something that was done to them earlier lifetimes ago. Hubbard made it very clear in the materials of Scientology that nothing that's happened to you this time around really matters at all. You could be, you could have been in the most abusive home ever growing up, but if you're still alive and kicking and doing Scientology, that stuff didn't really have anything to do with why you're in such sorry shape now. The reason you're in such sorry shape now is because of stuff that happened to you way back, long time ago. And the stuff that's happened to you now is just a re-stimulator or something that is acting on you now that reminds you subconsciously of the real heavy stuff that happened all those years ago. So again, taken very seriously.